there appears to be a Franco-American split going on right now, and this situation is going on with France and the U.S. Obviously, the submarine deal happened where Australia decided to purchase nuclear-grade submarines from the U.S. instead of diesel-grade submarines from France. This angered France extremely, extremely. And so now they're very angry, and they're essentially explaining that, it's time for a level of separation, and it's time for Europe to be more serious about this. So here's what it says. It says, Macron says Europe must assert independence from U.S. French President Emmanuel Macron said Tuesday that Europe must assert independence from the U.S. following France's outrage over a submarine deal between U.S. and Australia. For a bit over 10 years now, the United States has been very focused on itself and has strategic interests that are being reoriented towards China and the Pacific. It's in their right to do so, Macron said, while contending that Europe would be naive, or rather we would make a terrible mistake to not want to draw the consequences. It says, Macron said Europeans need to be respected and that focusing on Europe's own defense would not be an alternative to our alliance with the United States, according to the Post. He emphasized the U.S. is a great historical ally and an ally in terms of values, and that'll remain the case. So it's not like he's going completely nuclear, no pun intended, on the United States, but rather that he seems to be saying that we need to establish our own independence and we need to understand what the U.S.'s interests are here. So the United States has really made a huge change towards the Pacific region. The biggest enemy of the United States is not Russia anymore, it's China. China is the second biggest power, maybe even arguably the biggest, I don't know. Depends on the way that you look at it. But that's the number one enemy, and it's definitely surprising to see that Biden has been willing to forego a lot of these European allies and alliances and kind of put them in jeopardy. But it seems like he's really prioritizing the fight with China. Obviously, that influence in the region is that Indo-Pacific region is extremely important for the United States. Now, what I've heard talks of is potentially a EU military, but I don't think the European Union is like a military thing, so I don't know how they would do that. But I guess getting together like a European military is something that a lot of people in Europe want, especially now that the United States is kind of starting to buckle a little bit, essentially. So it's just interesting to see because you've got this split going on. Now, France and the U.S. weren't really on good terms in 2003 during the Iraq War, so it's not like this is completely unprecedented. But Europe and the European Union did come behind France, so it's clearly drawing the line in the sand. You got AUKUS versus EU, essentially. So it's an interesting situation to see going on, but we've got another development in foreign policy.